I was having a conversation yesterday with a friend of mine about my past, and I have a twin brother, and him and I have not always seen eye to eye on things. We've gone through a lot of stuff together to where I have PTSD behind some of his actions, and I'm sure he has some behind mine as well. But a lot of you know that I used to be a less than reputable character, right? I used to sell drugs. I've been to prison for robbery, trafficking, armed criminal action, burglary, you name it, assault. I've been to prison for it, right? And in that lifestyle comes selfishness, it comes greediness, it comes not caring about anyone whatsoever other than yourself. And sometimes that means the people closest to you. My brother and I, we've had this rocky past, and he's done some things that really have caused me to lack trust in relationships with the women in my life. And really, without putting too much of it out there, because you guys don't need to know it all. Um, He's caused me a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, so much so that at one point I just gave up. Not that I was suicidal or anything like that, but I could have came pretty close to it. But instead, I dove full blown head on into drug addiction. And in those moments, at my lowest, um, I needed my brother, but I also needed Jesus. And I had no clue that what I needed was the Lord. I had this emptiness, this void inside of me that I was trying to fill, and I was trying to fill it with drugs of all kinds, not just one type of terrible drug, but the hardest of hardcore drugs I was doing all at one time. And I went from weighing like 190 down to like 115. I was strung out, guys. I was lost. And in those moments, I felt nothing but despair, um, depression, anxiety, worry, stress. Nothing good was coming in that season of my life. And when me and my brother would see each other, we would fight on sight multiple times. And I just had so much anger and hatred in him for the things that he had done to me. And he had so much anger and hatred in his heart towards me because he felt like I should be doing certain things for him that I wasn't doing. And this led to us having a pure hatred for one another. Over the time, though, as I met Jesus and I was regenerated and transformed, my brother started to see me in a different light. And he started to notice the fruit of the Spirit. He started to notice how God was moving in my life and the way that the Lord was blessing me. And when I say that the Lord was blessing me, I don't mean in probably ways that you guys think, but I mean that I had joy in my life. I could hold my head high now instead of being someone that was ashamed and felt guilty of all the evil things that I was doing. Um, that I was living wickedly. I was strung out on drugs. You know, you don't feel great when you're living that type of lifestyle. But as Jesus told me what he thought about me, and as the Bible spoke to me, and I learned that I was a child of God and a new creation, that there was hope and it showed. And so my brother, he eventually got saved as well. He got off drugs and he's been clean for 4 years now. And our relationship looks night and day. We're closer than we've ever been. And it's all because of forgiveness, right? And these Bible verses on the screen are about forgiveness. This one right here, Matthew 6:14 through 15. For if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. And when I got saved, another woman that I was with, when she was my co-defendant on the case, the trafficking meth case, we both got locked up together. And since she was a woman, women always get less time than men do. She got out and she went back to my house where I was living at, and my brother got out shortly after I did because we were both in prison at the same time in different prisons, serving time for different. We were serving time for different cases, but my brother was on the end of a year and a half long sentence, and he came home to my ex, and my ex and him started a relationship. And in this moment, I wanted to be angry and have hate and all these negative thoughts in my heart for them, but I had just gotten saved. And so the first thing I did was I forgave them. I wrote them both each a letter and I sent it to them, telling them that I forgave them. And if they were going to be together, that they might as well like truly be together and be happy. Neither one of them read the letter, which I don't really blame them for that because they probably thought I was going off on them or like being typical Marcus, but they didn't know that I had changed. They didn't know that I was a new creation. They didn't know that I had gotten saved and given my life to the Lord. Although I told them on the phone, they weren't really trying to hear it. And so, when my brother saw me come home from that prison stay where I met Jesus, he saw first and foremost in full live HD that I was a different person. I didn't desire the same things. I didn't cuss anymore. I didn't do drugs. I didn't do the things that I used to do. So I no longer look like the old Marcus. I look like a new person. And that's where the power of your witness comes into play. If you're going to be someone that is fully on fire for the Lord, if you're going to be someone that's used by God, for his glory, you're going to be called to forgive some people that have wronged you in your life. And they're going to need to forgive you for the things that you've done to them as well. Another buddy of mine that's in my discipleship said that his brother just got out of prison. He's in a halfway house now, and they have a tumultuous past as well, where things have been rocky between them. And the little brother is on fire. He's walking with the Lord, and he's trying to be an example to his older brother about what being a disciple of Christ looks like, what living a life as a Christian man looks like. Instead, this other brother, he's in the halfway house. He's getting high. He's trying to hit the younger brother up for money, for drugs, and trying to get him to help him do these shady, backhanded deals. Hey, bro, put some money on this person's Cash App for me, or I need you to get so and so to put money on so and so's Cash App for me. And these are all like, if you know anything about that world, these are all underhanded drug deals that he's trying to get a Christian man to take part in. And my boy's not having it. And I'm like, bro, just, forgive him because you guys got a rocky past and just continue being the light of Christ. Continue to love him through all this without enabling it. But when you live a lifestyle of forgiveness, always being the one to extend an olive branch, willing to let go of things instead of holding grudges, you'll be able to build godly relationships. Me and my brother, like I said, are closer than ever before. And that's because we both are walking with the Lord. We both love Jesus. And we know that in order to be a disciple and be a true follower of Christ, we're supposed to love our brother as ourselves. So I'm not going to hate my brother. I'm not going to tear him down. I'm not going to keep throwing up things in our past back in his face that I've forgiven him for. I'm going to move on and I'm going to love my brother as if those things never happened, right? And I know that God will help me with the things that I struggle with when it comes down to it, because the enemy wants to use these things against me. The enemy wants to plant seeds and plant ideas. And, well, did you really forgive him? Or he wants to bring things in my dreams that my brother's doing these things all over again to me and hurting my relationships with the women in my life. And I'm a married man now, and so now the enemy tries to use my wife and my brother in my dreams to get at me. And it's not the best feeling. But when I wake up, I rebuke those dreams and I know that it's all a plan of the enemy to try to sow discord in my life. And I know the character of my brother that he has now, and I know the character of my wife. And so while the enemy may try to plant ideas in my head, I know that it's not going to come to reality. It's not going to come to fruition. It's all just a lie from the enemy because he knows my past. It's all a lie from the enemy because he knows my past. He knows how to use it against me. He knows that familiar spirits have been monitoring me my entire life, and they're going to use all the things that I used to struggle with, the things that I had fear and anxiety over in the past. They're going to use those things to try to get me to fall off my square and not be as serious as I am for Jesus. If they can keep me distracted with other things, I won't have my attention on Jesus. And that's what truly matters, guys. So the moral of all this is you can have forgiveness in your heart and mend broken relationships that can come out better than ever before. Imagine if I would never talk to my twin brother and I kept hating him like I used to. That's my twin. We shared a womb together. That guy is a part of me, right? And if I didn't have the forgiveness in my heart for him, and he didn't have the forgiveness of his heart in my end for me as he does, I'd be missing out on one of the best relationships and the best friendships that I have in this entire world. Don't let forgiveness stand in the way of you being healed. Don't let forgiveness stand in the way of you being complete. Now, there's no completion like the completion that comes from Jesus, but those relationships can be mended and be better than ever before if you only forgive and move on. Please like this video on the way out the door, guys. That is going to do it for this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, God bless.